Hey folks, welcome to What's New, the Peter Larman Outdoors radio show, and I'm your host, Peter Larman, and thank you very much for tuning in to us today. I hope everyone had a great Easter with your family and loved ones, and hopefully not too much food, or more food was consumed, and lots of chocolate as well. I just want to remind everyone to sign up for our newsletter by going to our website at www.peterlarman.com, and under the radio show section, enter the code for your chance to win some amazing prizes that have been donated by some of the great companies that we have on our show. This week on the show, we're honored to have an FLW touring professional who was ranked number 57 in the Bass Fan World Rankings, our 2006 FLW Tour Series Angler of the Year, a 2014 Rayovac Series Angler of the Year, and the recent winner of the latest FLW Tour event on Lewis Smith Lake. Yes, I'm talking about Erie, Pennsylvania's one and only Dave Lefebre. However, before we bring Dave on the show, let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back right after this. You're listening to What's New, the Peter Larman Outdoors radio show on WRVOradio.com. Gambler Lures, better baits, better fishing, better time on the water. We rely on offering you new and innovative products that perform across a variety of waters and species. We love what we do, and we know you value your time outdoors. We're here to help you make the most of it. Gambler Lures has one goal, catching you more and bigger fish. Lew's, building innovative products that are faster, lighter, and stronger. Lew's offers anglers a line of bait cast reels, from the BB1 Speed Spool to the new Team Lew's Light Speed Spool. If spinning reels is what you prefer, Lew's has those too. From the high-speed spin spool to the Team Lew's Gold Spin, Lew's has your spinning reels covered. Don't forget their line of rods and combos as well, all built with over 40 years of innovation and keying on the same principles by which Lew Childery originally founded the company, building innovative products that are faster, lighter, and stronger. Welcome back. This week on the show, we are fortunate to have a former FLW Tour Series Angler of the Year, the current Rayovac Angler of the Year, and the 2015 FLW Tour event, Lewis Smith, a Lake champion, Rapala Pro, Dave Lefebre. Dave, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks. Glad to be here.
Dave, firstly, congratulations on your win last weekend on Lewis Smith. That must have been quite the rush.
Yeah, it was, I haven't won in a couple of years. I guess back in 2012 was my last one, and went a couple of years without one. And in your intro there, you said I was 57 in the world ranking. that's encouraging. I need to pick that up a little bit. But yeah, it felt real good to get I guess it was my third tour win. So real exciting. I definitely needed it.
Right on, and I mean, anytime you can get a win is a positive. But fishing the tour event like you've been doing for years now, and I mean, you're fishing up against some of the best in the world, right?
Yeah, and I mean, not to say they're getting better, because I mean the guys who have been around for a while, the Jay Yellises and the Larry Nixons are still kicking butt out there. But this day and age, with all the social media and websites and Google Earth and everything that the younger generation has to study and get better in a hurry are the things that that we didn't have 12, 15 years ago. So the competition's definitely stiff out there with all the good ones hanging around, and then the new ones that are coming on board.
So what's it like on tour? What's the for a lot of anglers out there that are either aspiring to become pro anglers or you know what I mean, that are out there struggling right now. What's life like on tour?
Well, I mean, it's definitely, it takes a certain breed of person. I like traveling and I like seeing new places, and obviously I love fishing. So I mean, what I do is still like a dream to me. I still can't believe that I'm out there sitting there floating in the morning, coincidentally next to Dion Hibden or something. You got to pinch yourself sometimes. But I mean, for somebody that really loves the outdoors and loves fishing and loves competition and that, I mean, it's a dream come true being out there. But at the same time, it's a definite, it's a real job. It's all I do. It's all I've done for 13 or 14 years, and you have to treat it like that. You can, lots of people in different professions love what they do, but at the same time, there's a lot of work involved, and I think the more you love it, the more the work becomes natural,
Mm-hmm.
But I still love it as much as I did my rookie year, maybe more, and but at the same time, it's a lot of work, and I think you have to, kind of have some structure and dedication and a real solid work ethic to stay after it for so long.
I would imagine the discipline level as well has got to be pretty high, right? I mean, it's different for a guy that's got a 9-to-5 job. As we get up in the morning, we have our coffee or shower, whatever we do, kiss the kids goodbye, go to work. I mean, for you guys, it must be different, right? I mean, because there's work outside of tournament season.
I'd say it's definitely different. And there's different phases, like you said, the off season, and now we're just getting rolling for 2015. But I'd say there's, the off season and then the tournament season, and there's a lot of different things, with seminars and promotion, and also the actual tournaments that I kind of divide up. But I like kind of the structure, and I kind of stick to I guess what would you say, like a schedule? I try to treat it as though it was a job, and only thing I can say is, the guys that really put a lot into it, we work a lot more hours than your typical job, and I think that's just because we love it so much. But 8-hour days are out the window when you're a pro fisherman, that's for sure.
So that's a good tip for anyone that's aspiring to become a pro angler. For someone to be able to rub elbows with, as you mentioned, with Larry Nixon, Jay Ellis, and that, and now you've got young guys that are looking to say, I can't wait to rub elbows and bump boats with Dave Lefebre, and so there's, as you said, it's not really a 9-to-5. It's not an 8-hour job. There's always, off season, like you said, you got sponsors, promotional work. You're also preparing for the upcoming season, right? I'm sure you guys are going through maps and what have you. And
some guys do. Part of my system is I don't get geared up about the tournament that's 2 months away. I don't even know what the tournaments are, to be honest. I'm looking at them one at a time. I wouldn't start looking at, our first one was at Toho. I wouldn't start looking at that until a couple of weeks prior. I just know how I am. I start cramming, and if you get on a roll and do all that research 3 months ahead of time, there's just so much that you get so many ideas, and you want to live. You want to kind of expand off of the times you've been there before, and things like that. So if you get too far ahead of yourself, at least for me, I know other guys are different, but you start to get lakes confused with other lakes, and things that maybe you read, and then you get a bunch of paper, or if you're taking notes and stuff like that, you just have this huge pile of stuff. So for me, like at Smith, that I started looking a few days before I hit the road, and just spend all my like before I go to bed, when the wife's reading or whatever, or the kids are watching a movie, I'll be kind of looking at that stuff and getting in the right frame of mind when it's the right time, if you know what I mean.
Right. So like you said, it's like cramming just before an exam. Right. That's
kind of my style. That's how I've always done it. You mentioned exams even back in school. That's kind of how I was. I off the last minute, try to keep it fresh.
Exactly. And obviously it's worked for you. It's worked for you in the past. It's worked for you again last weekend, and and we sure do hope that it continues to work for you in the future, as I'm sure it will. But as you mentioned, that's the way you do it, and you've been successful with it. And there's other guys that do it, and they're successful with it. So, everybody's got to find their own little their niche, I guess, or what works for them. So, Obviously, as you know, so there's tournament season starting. You've already guys got 2 under your belts already. Let's go back to off season bit, and as you mentioned, you do sponsor works and whatever, and you know, some of the sponsors you have are major role players and major companies in the fishing industry. What are some of your sponsors?
Well, like you mentioned, I mean, that's one of the keys. You know, my career could be completely different if I didn't hook up with the right ones early on. And, you know, I've had them pretty much my whole career for the most part. You know, I added a few this year, which is kind of strange. I'll start with those. You know, I've been pretty much set, and this year in losing a couple of major key title sponsors, you know, due to some corporate crossfire, I guess you'd call it.
Mm-hmm.
I lost Kellogg's, which I'd been with for 10 plus years, and Chevrolet for, you know, about 8 years. So losing those, I just added a few of those secondary type sponsors, you know, just to kind of supplement and help out until I find a title, which I'm still looking for. But, you know, the new ones I added are Quigley 4x4, which took the place of a diesel truck where we used to tow a camper around, and we had a Suburban, and we towed a boat with that. So we had 2 vehicles, and I kind of condensed that into one. The family's not going to be traveling with me this year, so I've got a Quigley 4x4 van, which is like, a lot of people don't even know they exist, so it's kind of cool to drive it around and get all the, you know, the inquiries and stuff. What is that and everything? They've never seen one, but in reality, it's the perfect vehicle for the outdoors, and then especially a pro fisherman with the room. It's just it's amazing. So that's the one I kind of real excited about as far as getting around the country, traveling around in that thing. And then I added TH Marine, which is kind of like the glue that holds everything together in your boat. Probably everybody has a TH Marine product, just like they have a Yamamoto bait somewhere. It's neat. It's neat to be hooked up with them finally, and using all their cool gear. And the other new one is 13 Fishing, which you probably know about, being from up north like me. Just kind of took over the ice fishing world and hooked up with them through the ice stuff last year. I'm doing a lot of ice promotion during the off season now too, and just the last couple of years. And hooked up with them and said, "Hey, man, this stuff is so good. Send me a rod and reel so I can check it out." And last year I got to use some of their stuff, and this year they're one of my newest sponsors. So, you know, they kind of complement the group that I've had for a long time, like with Rapala, Yamamoto, Ranger, Power Pole, Lowrance, that kind of stuff, Solar Bat, the ones that I've had for a really long time. So kind of adds a little bit of excitement. Getting the win for those guys, you know, out of the gates early is also important. So I'm excited. I like the whole lineup, and like you talked about, you know, getting or, you know, loving what we do. The promotion part, that can be a drag for some people, and it can be, you know, more work than the actual fishing part. But the same thing goes into that, you know, when you love the sponsors and you're using the baits that they provide and that they put out there, makes it a lot easier.
It sure does. You know, exactly. And it's easier to talk about something that you enjoy and use than to talk about something that you're not really. It's okay, but you know, I know what you're trying to say. I'm not.
It doesn't seem like work.
Exactly.
A lot of times, and I'm not knocking it. You know, sometimes guys have to take something subpar to get the money that they need to do what they need to do. You know, so that could have been me. I just worked harder at getting the ones that I really wanted early on, and it just happened to work out. So I guess I was blessed in that aspect. It didn't have to work out that way, but it just makes your job so much easier and so much more fun when you can just really talk about, you know, the products that they make, and you know them inside and out, because those are the ones you depend on every day.
Exactly. Continuing with what we'll do, Dave, is we're going to take a quick commercial break. But when we come back, as you mentioned, some of these new products or new sponsors that you have, and staying with the title of our show and what's new, let's talk, when we come back from the break, let's talk about some of the new products that have helped you this year, like to win on Lewis Smith, and products that you're going to be using that are new for 2015 that'll help you throughout the rest of the season. So what we'll do is we'll take a quick commercial break, pay a few bills, and you're listening to What's New, the Peter Lerman Outdoor Radio Show on WRVOradio.com. Livingston Lures. Livingston Lures is committed to bringing fishermen everywhere innovative, technologically advanced lures designed to flat-out catch fish in fresh and salt water. With an exciting new line of crankbaits, lipless crankbaits, topwater baits, jerk baits, and wake baits, featuring a unique sound and vibration technology. Livingston Lures is set to make some real noise across the fishing industry. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you missed a great first half of the show. But we're fortunate enough this week to have FLW touring professional Dave Lefebre join us. Dave, before the break, we were talking about sponsors and how important they were, and some of the new sponsors you have, and some of the old ones you have, like Rapala, Power Pole, Ranger, Yamamoto. Keeping in title with the show and what's new, what are some of the new products that these sponsors have that are helping you succeed this year?
Well, there's a pile of new stuff. I mean, the industry's always on fire, especially early in the season, like right now, with all the new stuff coming out. But I mean, in the most recent tournament, I won it because of some of the newer stuff. One of them is the BX Waking Minnow, and when I realized I was going to be doing a wake bait type of deal, that's the only thing I had in my boat that first day, and thank God that I did. And then I was able to expand on it and use several different ones as the tournament progressed and the fish got tougher. But without that bait, brand new bait from them, I wouldn't have been able to do it. Some other things like power poles have been out for a while, but there's still I get a lot of Facebook questions and emails asking, do I really need power poles, or do I really need two power poles? I fish deep, clear lakes and stuff like that. And those 10-foot blades, that's what I use. Not too many people use the 10s. Most guys are using 8s. But at Lewis Smith, it's a deep lake. And it's a place you wouldn't think power poles. JT won the first one at Toho. Everybody needs power poles in Florida, but
right.
On a lake like that, those were key. I would not have won. I mean, if you look at the results, my old buddy Clark Wendlandt finished, just less than 2 pounds behind me. Without the poles, without those 10-footers, I wouldn't have won. So every little thing matters. And then the D-shad, which I helped Yamamoto design, it's a fluke style, plastic sauce minnow looking thing. I was using that until I ran out. You never think somebody sponsored by Yamamoto would run out of baits, but by day 4 I was completely out of them. But they're a D-shad. It's got a lot of salt, that Yamamoto plastic, and I was super gluing that onto the back of a fish head spin. So that's another fairly new bait. And lastly, I guess, 13 Fishing, all their stuff is pretty much new. They're taking the world by storm, but at the same time, it's still new stuff. And the Concept E reels and the Omens and Envies, I mixed it up with both model rods, but that Concept E 7-3-1 reel, it's just great stuff. I've been using Shimano for, since I started my career, way before I was a rookie. Way back in the club days. I'm 25 plus years, and nothing has ever made me even think about getting rid of my Chronarchs until I started using these 13. So every little bit matters. When it's that close over a 4-day period, you can't leave anything out. Which reminds me, the sunglasses that I wear, the way that I was fishing clear water, I could see those shadows, real faint, almost like a smallmouth in the spring, chasing a fluke or something like that,
Yeah.
I could see them, and it was real important to be able to identify something following from far away. And I credit, I wear amber lenses a lot, but on that last day I put the Mossback ones on, and I mean, it was just, it's a solar bat lens that you can't get anywhere else. It's kind of a green, dark green color, real good when it's sunny, and crucial. I mean, I can, I haven't had a whole lot of time to think since that win. It's been crazy. But thinking back on some of those fish that I was able to see and had more time to trick them into taking the bait, the sunglasses are definitely one of the keys to that style of fishing, too.
And it's funny, just to... I want to go back to the power poles because I know there is a lot of questions about that. But just to finish off with the sunglasses, it's so funny how we spend as anglers so much money on tackle and equipment, and we always forget about obtaining quality eyewear and how important it is, not only just for the protection of our eyes from the UV rays and all that, but the ability, as you mentioned, to see the fish, to see not even fish, but like you said, shadows. It's so important.
Half the time, there was one, I believe I weighed it in because it was a 3+ pounder, but there was one that I just happened to see. I'd already passed it, and we didn't have co-anglers in the boat, and I actually looked back and saw it and wondered how I passed it, and just the way the glare was and everything. I credit that particular catch to the glasses. I threw back on it, and it just exploded on the bait as soon as it touched the water. So, super, I always say that's the one thing that you don't want to skimp on. You can use subpar anything.
Right.
Some of the best fishermen on earth are obviously not using the best boats, motors, equipment, rods, reels, baits, and they're still dominating. There's good ones that would even tell you that. And as far as sunglasses go, that's one thing you just don't want to skimp on. I've been using these bats for 14, 15 years, and about 5 years in, I actually got sponsored by them. They were one of those companies I just wanted. I wouldn't wear anything else.
Right.
Now I'm sponsored by them. It's awesome. I feel that they're the best out there, especially with those, they got some inverted gradients and gradient lenses that are patented, and then that's Mossback. You just can't beat them. For your listeners, too, by the way, if anybody's looking at glasses, I actually wear prescription, which can get pricey, but my signature model of solar bats, as far as the RX goes, they're about the best deal you can get, and in my opinion, the best ones out there. So I got a promo code. Anybody goes to Solarbat's website can get 20% off. They don't even have to buy my signature series, any glasses. So if you're listening, want really good glasses, take care of your eyes, you can go to my Facebook page and find the promo code, or if you got a good memory or a pencil while you're driving, it's DBAT15. Just enter that at checkout and you get 20% off whatever glasses you pick.
Well, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that with our listeners. I mean, there's a good opportunity there and you heard it firsthand that it's a crucial point. Unfortunately, we're kind of really running out of time. So very quickly, Dave, going back to the power poles, we got about 30 seconds. The power poles, you mentioned the blades, and most people think of the power pole, they think of the, it's a folding and it's basically a stick. But there's attachments you can get to the power poles because, as you said, it's 10 feet. But if I'm fishing at 20 feet of water, working adrift, how's the power pole going to help me?
Well, I mean, they slow you down like nobody's business, even without, they make some accessories, some wing things. I can't even remember what they're called. I used to put them on at Lake Erie last year. But you don't even need those. Just putting them down, the resistance is unbelievable. I'd say it cuts your speed in half. But what I was doing was just fishing the backs of those pockets and putting them down long before I got into 10 feet of water. And when they hit the bottom, I knew where I was. And coincidentally, that's where I was catching all the fish, too. So,
right.
Super important. You can always back up, get close to the bank, and put those down to stabilize yourself and be a lot more quiet.
Mm-hmm. And that's the whole point of it, especially when you're fishing that, 10 feet or but even shallower. Being as quiet as possible is obviously key. Dave, I really want to thank you. I know you're getting ready to get out on the road again and get back at it. I want to thank you for taking time away from your busy schedule to chat with us today. We do wish you all the best in the future, and we're going to keep an eye on you, and hopefully you continue to climb up that bass fan world ranking.
All right, I appreciate it. Got a lot of good friends up in Canada, so I appreciate you having me on, and hopefully we get to talk again soon.
I hope so, too. Folks, this episode was brought to you by Gambler Lures, better baits, better fishing, better time in the water. Lew's, building innovative products that are faster, lighter, and stronger. George's Marine and Sports, making fun a reality. Livingston Lures, the difference is clear. Mercury Marine, #1 on the water. And Nitro Boats, driven to be the best. It's our passion. Folks, take a kid fishing. They are the future of our sport, and practice catch and release, and harvest only what you're going to consume. And also don't forget to take lots of pictures. Work hard and fish harder. You've been listening to What's New, the Peter Larman Outdoors radio show on WRVOradio.com. And Lord willing, we'll talk to you again next week.